All right. So if you've seen these videos in the past, if you followed us a little bit on Instagram, you kind of know that, Loma Lookboonmee, probably a fan favorite, if you will, over here. And she's actually had quite a good UFC career so far. And I think that in this case, you see that, she's getting a bit more of that big prospect that's coming in, trying to make a huge splash. Look at Sam Hughes' career. I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? The Demopoulos fight, she was so close to becoming the LFA champion, so close. She was dominating the striking battle, was getting all of the exchanges with Demopoulos, in her favor. But, with a great grappler like that, you can't be in bad situations, especially in the fourth round. And there was only a few seconds left where she could have probably saved herself from that kind of a loss. But unfortunately, that's exactly why we love MMA, right? Can dominate a fight for 3.5 rounds, and all of a sudden, a good jiu-jitsu practitioner who gets you in a good place just finishes the fight just like that. And so I think in this case, you might have a Sam Hughes who's learned from that, right? I think if you look at her last win against Danielle Hindley, I mean, the other fighter took it on two weeks short notice, and there was a lot of things leading up to that fight for her. But, pretty much got her in one of those nice, beautiful John Jones, Lyoto Machida standing headlocks. And those are the little wins that, they're going to boost you no matter who they are. Fighters are fighters. And I think from that, she carried over pretty well for the rest of her LFA career. And now is trying to make her mark in the UFC. And I think when you look at the loss against Tecia Torres, doesn't Tecia Torres look like a completely different fighter now? I think there was so much potential in watching her fight normally and against a size thing. Tecia Torres and Loma Lookboonmee, imagine how crazy good that fight might be. But, similar styles there. And I think that when you look at Loma Lookboonmee, she might not be the crazy athlete that Tecia Torres is, but I think that from a striking skill perspective, she's one of the best. And I mean, it's crazy to think that someone who's going to have a guaranteed, she's an atom weight, she's going to have a guaranteed size and reach difference, but you almost want to give her the even the distance striking advantage, because I think Sam Hughes showed kind of good leg kicks and good jabs, things like that, but nothing of power that Loma should be fearing. She took on Jin Yufrey and looked great in that fight. Angela Hill took that fight on short notice, but at the same time, came away with the win in what was a very hard fought battle. Those elbows, those clinch work. She's a Muay Thai style fighter. She's going to be bringing some serious damage. So if I'm Sam Hughes, it's keeping that distance, using the leg kicks, maybe trying to, get some damage where she's not able to throw so much power. And even maybe you can get up against the fence and work yourself into a takedown. Well, that's easier said than done against Loma, who has not really seen much of the ground, right? I think for how tiny she is, and even for this division, 72% takedown defense. Like, that's something that is very respectable, especially in fighting the fighters that she's taken on so far. And in this fight, I'd be shocked if she wasn't the favorite. But I mean, at the same time, the lengthier fighter, it's so much easier to say this without being in there, right? But you think that they have that advantage to keep the distance. And if Loma's not able to really get into those clinch elbow type of situations, like maybe Sam Hughes is able to avoid a lot of the damage that she does do. I mean, getting up against the fence on your back against the girl like Loma is not a good idea. Being able to maybe work your own type of groundwork against the fence, maybe eliminate that type of distance and keep that chin tucked, that kind of thing, gives you a bit more opportunity to win. I'm really curious if she's going to come in there and try to keep that distance striking game going. She had success with that against Vanessa Demopoulos, like really good success. And so it's going to be interesting to see if she has confidence in that and just keeps rolling. But in that case, if this stays standing, this is going to be an absolutely beautiful fight between two girls who definitely know how to throw. But again, technical striking, even from a distance, Loma, the way she's able to work in those quick strikes and come back out and keep her distance and read kicks, I think that's going to be a huge, huge issue for Sam Hughes to deal with. And when we go check out the line, wow. Oh, man. So we're obviously looking at Sam Hughes now at all the way of a plus 260 opening and still hovering at that plus 270, plus 260. Loma, my girl, minus 310 now at a minus 380 at some places. I mean, minus 400, a couple big spots. So, I mean, that one's pretty straightforward, right? Loma's only 25 with a 1-1 UFC record, and that loss being Angela Hill. Like, that's what I like about the girl. She's just such a gamer, and I think she's the type of fighter that the UFC is trying to keep around because she's going to win the fights that are thrown her way in terms of just, I don't want to call them the lower end, not really ranked fighters, but that's what makes a lot of these, long time fighters, the UFC, stick around. It's the ability to win 3 fights against up-and-comers or prospects or even older veterans, but then maybe have to take a loss against a top 5 or a top 10, even 15 type of fighter. That's where I think that Loma is a bona fide UFC fighter. And in this case, she's going to give Sam a really good test. I think that, coming off of that loss to Demopoulos is going to be such a huge career motivator to never land in that situation again, because at the end of the day, that was a title fight, and that's where I see this fight being extremely fun. I think that Loma is going to be obviously doing her big, swanging and banging thing, and so if Sam Hughes can deal with that, look out.